then also I'm just going to say this. I don't believe a lot of these people who profess to be Christian are Christian. I'm not going to say, oh, well, you're not a Christian because you're not Presbyterian, or you're not Christian because you don't have a beard. I'm not going to do that. However, I am going to say, I think it's fair to say we've had better than 25 years of purpose-driven, attractional church running amok in America. It's fair to say, I'm going to go on a limb and say about 25%, if not more, of our mainstream churches are probably full of people that are not believers. So, I mean, it's cultural to be Christian. Now, sadly, now Christianity is on the outswing. So people are like deconstructing. You're not deconstructing. You actually were never constructed. You can't pull yourself out of his hand. So if he put you in his hand, you can't unput yourself in his hand. Doesn't make sense. So you're actually not deconstructed. You're not an ex-evangelical. Newsflash, you never were. Okay. But these people are running amok in the Christian church. So yeah, so it does seem like there's a lot of people who are unbelievers who subscribe to unbelieving policies and ideas inside Christianity, but they themselves were never really saved in the first place. First John gives us peace of mind in saying that they left from us because they never really were of us. So now we have people of less melanin and black folk too. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of black folk. I'm calling out Raphael Warnock and Stacey Abram right now that stand in Christian churches. And I'm sorry, your policies prove that you yourself, your profession needs to be reconsidered. Okay. So we have people, black, white, fill in the dots, that stand in Christian churches that are not believers. So they bring in non-believing policies like, because you're white, you need to pay me money, or because you're this, because you have all those books back there behind you, and I don't have enough books, so you need to give me more books so I can put more books in my bookcase, because it's unfair that you have more books in your bookcase, because the only reason you have more books is because you're white. And that kind of stuff is running amok in church. But I think it's primarily because we have a lot of people who are not converts. Now, you can argue with me that you are a convert, and I will just ask you simply this: why is your policies and why do your practices not reflect Christ's policies? Because James says don't show partiality. So if I look at Mike, and because Mike has a button-down shirt, I treat him differently than I treat Connor. By default, I am in sin. Now I'm being kind of bombastic here, but that's it. So if you can look at me and give me privilege over Connor or Mike just because of my beautifully brown melanated skin, you're in sin too. So come on, sinner, let's get changed. But so that's how I think we've gotten to this place of it being so prevalent in Christianity, or in the church, lowercase c, because I don't believe Christ's church is behaving like this. What we're seeing are the pretenders, the caricature church, the lowercase c, doing all this foolishness. But Christ's church, they're still faithful. They're still recognizing brothers and sisters across all of the spectrum. They're not trying to be anything more than what Christ has called them to be, and allowed him to build his church.